Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a 2022 horror movie directed by David Blue Garcia, and it stars Sarah Yarkin, Elsie Fisher and Mark Burnham. Before we begin, guys, we're not going to get a spoiler-free review from myself. It's just going to be a spoiler review. So if you don't want to know what happens, then don't watch this video. If you don't care, or if you have seen the movie already, then continue watching. After nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorise a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. At the beginning of the film, I think this is the first time this has happened in a Texas Chainsaw movie, as far as I remember. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but they mention it as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre within the movie. They've got the TV on and it says Texas Chainsaw Massacre Uncovered or something like that, and they're even selling these ornaments and souvenirs that say Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a chainsaw. So they're kind of not celebrating, but they're remembering what happened almost 50 years ago. The only time I can remember this happening in any Texas Chainsaw movie was with John Larroquette's narration at the beginning of the movie saying the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he's obviously confirming it as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but no characters in the movie have ever referenced the Texas Chainsaw Massacre until now. Something that really annoys me in any movie is the obvious bad plot holes. I don't mind normal plot holes because every movie has plot holes, but this one I couldn't get away from, and it happened at the beginning with the deeds, the title deeds. You've got this woman who owns the orphanage where Leatherface took refuge back in 1973. She owns this orphanage and she says, well, I own this place, I've got the deeds. And they're saying, well, no, we own the whole town, so we have the deeds to the whole town. And that's that. And I'm thinking, obviously the old lady's wrong, or she's lying or whatever. But it turns out she does have the deeds to this little town, this little house within the town. But the police are quick to say, well, no, we told you to get out a while ago, so you're supposed to leave. You were told to get out. And I'm like, well, why were they told to get out if she owns the deeds? Surely she was sent the deeds, she would have fought that, so that she wouldn't have been told to leave. And even if she was told to leave, she would have shown the deeds that she did have to whoever it is asking for them. So that's a major plot hole for me. And it's not, I didn't hate the movie because of that, I just had that on the back of my mind all the way through it. Especially even when we find out later on in the film that yes, that old lady did own the house. She did own the house. She did have the deeds to that house. But if it wasn't clear already, the whole story revolves around these people, a couple in particular, that are buying this town, or at least buying the deeds to this town so that they can start afresh with people, like-minded people. One guy in the movie said it's like a cult, and it is kind of like a cult because they're only accepting people of like-minded minds to come to this place to start something new and create their own world, basically. I've seen worse when it comes to stories and reasons for people going into the wilderness to get killed off by chainsaw wielding maniacs. I've seen worse before, so when it comes to the story of this movie, I don't mind it. It's stupid, but I will forgive it because it is a Texas Chainsaw movie. At 83 minutes, this is a short movie, but it is even shorter because we've got 9 minutes of end credits. We also have an end credit scene that lasts about 20 seconds or so, but round about 9 minutes is the end credits. So we're looking at a 74-minute movie, which is quite ironic because the original came out in 1974, but in a 74-minute movie, you can tell that this movie went through a lot of changes. You have to remember, this isn't a Netflix movie. Although Netflix are the sole distributors of this film, they didn't make this movie. This movie was made way before Netflix took it over. The movie was made, it was shown to test audiences, they hated it. So Netflix took it, probably for pennies, and it looks like they tried to clean it up as best as they could. They chopped a lot of the movie because a lot of it was very choppy, and we'll discuss that. but they tried to put their own spin on it, and I can commend Netflix for trying their best. They brought on the guys who done the Hereditary score to score this film. The score was actually pretty decent, and they also brought back John Larroquette to do voice narration. He doesn't do narration for the movie itself, unfortunately. He only narrates the little TV show that was going on at the beginning of the film. I'm going to be honest, I rooted for Leatherface straight from the beginning. Obviously with the title deeds, the people coming into the town getting it all wrong. They caused the death of the lady that watched Leatherface for almost 50 years. She was like a mother to him, basically. And he was the only one left in the house because everyone left and he was too simple, and she had to watch him and care for him, because without her, he would go back to his old ways. And that's exactly what he done. She died, not at the hand of these people, but she died because of what they were doing to her, making her leave her home when she was entitled to stay in her home. And because of that, she died, and Leatherface came back out again. Leatherface had awoken. So he had not every right to kill people, but he had every right to be angry. She had every right to be angry. If it weren't for those people, Leatherface wouldn't be doing what he was doing in this film. So they were almost the villains in this film, and he was the victim. If you took away the title, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you read a synopsis about what actually happened, you would think that Leatherface is the victim here. If you put Liam Neeson in that situation, you would be rooting for Liam Neeson. Similar to this, whether it's Liam Neeson or Leatherface, I was rooting for Leatherface. Let's talk about Leatherface. Let's talk about his actions and his appearance. I'll be honest as well, with Leatherface, he was probably the best thing about this film. It was good. I think it was really good. Wasn't as good as the remake Leatherface. It wasn't good as the beginning, obviously, because that was also Andrew Bryanarski, I think his name is. Wasn't anywhere near as good as his performance as Leatherface, but he was still decent. A step up from other Leatherfaces that we saw in the past. I kind of liked the story of him because of what happened with his foster mum, you would call her. Her passing away, him getting angry and getting revenge on the people that caused her to have a heart attack or whatever. It was quite morbid that he took her face, but maybe it's because she's all he's known for 50 years. So putting her face on made him feel like she's still alive to him. So Leatherface was kind of fleshed out, no pun intended. It was kind of fleshed out in this one more than he was in some other movies. Now let's talk about Sally Hardesty. Sally Hardesty was like the Laurie Strode of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. She came back after 50 years, almost 50 years, she's back again. And she makes it this sort of vengeance thing like Laurie Strode, but only in this one, I don't know if it's she had hardly any screen time or a lot of her scenes were cut, but she was hardly in the movie up until the point where she came face to face with Leatherface again. Now after her big speech about waiting 50 years to kill Leatherface, she finally comes face to face with him and decides not to shoot him straight away, but have a little chat with him first, saying, "You don't remember me, do you?" Well, obviously he doesn't remember you. It's been almost 50 years. Even if he did remember you, that memory has faded by now. So yes, you remember him, but he doesn't remember you. Just like Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. So she decides, "Oh no, I can't kill you." So he walks away without killing her as well. Now this is just him after killing a bus full of people he doesn't know. Yet he doesn't remember her, but doesn't kill her either. It makes no sense. After they decided not to kill each other for some reason, he goes out to try and kill the other girls that he wants to kill now. And that's when Sally Hardesty decides, "You know what, I will try and kill you now." So she comes out and tries to kill him. They have a maybe 30-second battle and she dies. She doesn't die straight away, but we think she dies straight away. And it was a brutal kill with the chainsaw right through this chest and flips her away like she's nothing, like she's trash, and she falls into the trash. She was a pointless character, a pointless return for quite an iconic character for back in the day. If you're going to bring her back in style. If you're not going to bring her back at all, that's fine. You don't have to try and copy Halloween. Either bring her back and make her big, or don't bring her back at all. I just think her character was pointless. She was hardly in the movie. There was absolutely no point in her being in this film, other than the fact that she didn't die straight away. She managed to get a shot off so that Leatherface didn't kill Lily or the other girl. When it comes to the kills, they were brutal, but and I liked the kills, I liked the bus scene kills, but there was nothing to them. They were just there to shock you. It was like a shock value kill. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I know that. I love the gore, I love the kills. I want that. I'm not saying remove them, I'm saying build them up first. That's what I want. I want the tension first. I want us to think maybe the person's going to get away, maybe they're not, but we don't get that. All we're getting is Leatherface coming in, killing them. It's gore, it's great, and it's done. There's no tension to these kills. It's just pure shock value. As cool as the bus scene was, it was stupid. You know, everybody's panicking. I know that when you see someone, whether there's more of you than them, if they're willing to kill you and you don't want to kill anybody, you will all run for your life. But after the first couple of chainsaw kills, and you know there's no way out, surely when you have to turn towards Leatherface, you can all just jump on top of him. And maybe some of you will die, maybe some of you won't. But if nobody does anything, you're all going to die. The Texas rain, the weather, that was an interesting aspect because it was a stark difference to what happened in the first original movie. Remember, this is a direct sequel to the original. They didn't take any inspiration from the look of the feel or the atmosphere from the original. In this movie, you've got the dark Texas rain, and it takes place mostly at night time. Whereas, looking at the original movie, and I don't know if this was intentional, but in the original, it was mostly all sunshine, but bleak at the same time and dreary. I wanted more of that, like a dreamlike sunscape, but we didn't get that. We got quite the opposite. So if you're looking for that same style of atmosphere, you're not going to get that in this one. This was more like a sequel to the remake and the beginning, which were fantastic movies, but it felt more in line with those rather than the original 1974 movie. At the end of the movie, I think this girl deserved everything she got. When they get into the car, they started laughing with each other. So cheesy. Why would you laugh after the massacre of your friends and people that were coming to live in a town? I know you got away and you're happy that you got away, but don't laugh and smile when you're still at the scene. Drive away first, and then you can maybe smile in a few years, not a few seconds later. But anyway, Leatherface didn't die, pulled her out of that car and chopped her head off. I think that was a cool scene. Leatherface was quite goofy, but he was an older man who was still mentally disabled, so it fit with the theme of his character. And that's what I'm saying. The best thing about this film was Leatherface. Tonally, Leatherface felt the same, but tonally, for everything else, it just felt off. I did kind of like the end credit scene as well. It only lasted 20-30 seconds, but Leatherface was walking home towards his original home. Could there be another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie? Possibly. Would I care if there wasn't one in this timeline? No, I wouldn't care at all. Overall, guys, I don't really know what to think about it. Judging by the trailer, I thought it was going to have a lot of social commentary in it that a lot of films do, and when you get too much social commentary and focus on that, then it takes you away from the movie. And this one, that's what I was expecting to see, but I didn't see that. Surprisingly, I didn't see that. We did get some of the social commentary at the beginning of the film, but that was quickly brushed aside when Leatherface came into it and started killing people. So in terms of that, that's a bonus. Was it a great movie? Absolutely not. Was it cheesy? Absolutely. But I'm having a hard time saying that I hated this movie. I'm also having a hard time saying that I liked this movie. It's kind of in between just now. Was it the worst Texas Chainsaw movie? Absolutely not. Was it the best? Nowhere near it. If you asked me to rate this movie right now, I would probably split myself down the middle. 2.5 out of 5 stars, 5 out of 10, whatever you want to say. That might go up, that might go down as the months go by, but at this moment in time, I'm smack bang in the middle. Didn't like it, but also didn't hate it. If you're a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies just for the sheer fact that they're all goofy, then I think you'll find something out of this movie. I think you'll like it. If you're in it for more artistic horror movies, or if you're in it for a triumphant return for Leatherface, like we got in Halloween 2018, I think you'll be in for a disappointment. So turn your brain off before you watch this movie. Go into it, enjoy what you're watching, and maybe, just maybe, you will like it. Anyway guys, if you've seen this movie, or if you haven't seen this movie anyway, leave your comments down below, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the movie overall. And as always guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.